Actors who totally regret their movie roles. Acting can be a tricky business, especially if you've been doing it for a long time. You might be established in the industry, but even the most experienced Hollywood A-listers can't get it right all the time. Every actor will star in a big fat dud at some point in their career, while others simply regret taking a role because it didn't feel right. Join us as we take a look at actors who totally regret their movie roles. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos about your favorite movies and TV shows. Michael Fassbender, Assassin's Creed.
Has been dead for 500 years.
What do you want from me?
Your past.
Ultra-popular video game franchise should have been a surefire hit for director Justin Kurzel when it was released in 2016, but instead, it was a disaster. Michael Fassbender took the lead role of Cal Lynch, the criminal-turned-assassin that finds out there's a much bigger plan for him. While it was a highly anticipated movie, it was critically panned. Rotten Tomatoes called it a joyless, overplotted slog, and The Guardian agreed. I bet playing the game is much more exciting, they said. Most viewers agreed it had potential, but fell short of delivering what was promised. It still made $240 million at the box office, surpassing its budget, but even Fassbender had to admit that it should have gone differently. He expressed his regret at producing and starring in the movie, saying that the film took itself too seriously and should have been a lighter affair. There were plans for a sequel, but it looks like that may not happen after all. Can't say we blame him. Sally Field, Spider-Man.
I'm Jamie Hatfield and this is IGN News.
Aunt May is a tricky character to play, that's for sure. She doesn't really do a lot but say, "Oh, Peter," and listen to her nephew harp on about Mary Jane. Marissa Tomei played a new hip version of the old aunt in the latest offering, Homecoming. But before that, the role went to Sally Field. Field offered up a different version of the character than we had previously seen in the original movies, but something still didn't quite click. The actress has publicly spoken about how difficult the role was to play in the past, saying she found it incredibly hard to find a three-dimensional character in Aunt May despite her best efforts. The script was lacking, and Sally just couldn't do much with a character that, well, isn't much to start with. Aunt May isn't really a pivotal person in the Spidey universe, so it's not really surprising that writers didn't put much effort into making her leap off the page. It does beg the question though, if Sally didn't like the role, why did she bother? Was it all about the moolah? Bill Murray, Garfield. Bill Murray has such a distinctive voice that he seemed like the perfect fit to play the CGI version of the popular cartoon cat Garfield. However, there was something about the combination that didn't really sit right. Funnily enough, Murray signed on to do the project under false pretenses. He thought that the script was being written by Joel Cohen, one half of the dynamic filmmaking duo that has had great success in the biz. Unfortunately for him, it was actually written by a lesser-known writer called Joel Cohen. The H makes all the difference here. When the actor realized his mistake, it was too late to back out, and he had no choice but to carry on voicing the ginger feline, no matter how much he hated it. When Murray appears in Zombieland as himself, he says he regrets doing the movie, and while audiences might have thought it was just him being funny, he really meant it. Michelle Pfeiffer, Grease 2. The original 1978 musical Grease is hailed as a classic. Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta headed the cast, and the movie was an unprecedented hit. It's such a beloved film that when a sequel was announced in 1982, fans went wild for all the wrong reasons. For a start, it didn't need a sequel. Everything was nicely wrapped up in the first movie, but as we all know, Hollywood likes to milk these things for all they're worth. Michelle Pfeiffer has a lot to thank the badly received follow-on for, even though she admits that it's one of the worst movies she's ever seen. It launched her career, but that doesn't stop her from hating it just as much as the rest of us. She would later say that she detested the movie with a vengeance, but at the time, she was young, green, and didn't know any better. Still, without that platform, Pfeiffer might not have made it to superstar status, and we would have never seen her incredible performance as Catwoman. Edward Norton, The Italian Job. There was a time when Edward Norton was one of the reigning actors of Hollywood, thanks to his stellar performance in Fight Club and American History X. For the past few years, roles have sort of dried up for the star. In 2003, he took part in a rebooted version of the heist classic The Italian Job. The cast was great, but Norton was less than enthusiastic about taking on the role. He only signed on because he had no choice, as he was under a 5-year contract with Paramount Pictures. Basically, if he didn't take the movies that they told him to, then he would have been sued for a huge amount by the company. Rather than face that nonsense, he did his best as Steve Frizzelli. Audiences responded well to him, and the movie performed decently at the box office, but given the circumstances, it's understandable that Norton wishes he had never been a part of it. When the original is that good, it's hard to run the risk of dirtying its good name with an updated version. Kate Winslet, Titanic. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet have the rare honor of being possibly the best-loved romance movie of the 21st century. Titanic took the tragic tale of the sunken ocean liner and made it into a complicated, tumultuous love affair that the world adored. Not only did it propel the two relatively unknown actors to new heights, but Leo and Kate remain BFFs to this day, having acted alongside each other several times since. The movie kicked butt at theaters, seeing it become one of the highest-grossing movies of all time, a title it held until 2010. While Winslet doesn't necessarily regret the entire role, she does regret one particular scene. It doesn't take a genius to figure out which one. Apparently, fans still come to her with photos of the infamous "draw me like one of your French girls" part, which makes the well-established actor feel more than uncomfortable. It is over 20 years later, after all, and who wants to be confronted with pictures of their own naked body? Awkward! Ben Affleck, Daredevil. There's a time and a place for Ben Affleck, and 2003's Daredevil wasn't it. The actor has since found a more than suitable role as the current Batman, but Affleck made one of the biggest mistakes of his life by signing on as the blind, crime-fighting superhero, and he knows it. The Dogma star has openly admitted how he feels about the movie, explaining that while he loves the comic book character, the failure of the movie haunts him. On the plus side, it did give him the motivation to try and redeem himself by playing Batman. Katherine Heigl, Knocked Up. Ever since her breakout role as Izzy in Grey's Anatomy, Heigl has found steady work on the movie circuit, but she usually plays similar characters. In 27 Dresses, she was the eternal bridesmaid. In The Ugly Truth, she was the hard-working, straight-laced woman, and in Knocked Up, she was another highly strung stereotype. Starring opposite Seth Rogen, Heigl plays a woman that falls pregnant after a one-night stand. But she herself has admitted that the cheap laughs came at a cost. Calling the movie sexist in an interview with Vanity Fair, she went on to elaborate that it made women look humorless and uptight, while making men look goofy and fun-loving. When her co-star caught wind of her regrets, he publicly said that he was hurt and offended. The two made amends, but it's unlikely you'll see them cozying up to one another on the same set anytime soon. Rooney Mara, Pan. If we've learned anything from this video, it should be that sequels never do well. It's really rare that a follow-up or reworking performs as well as the first outing, no matter how hard producers try. Rooney Mara starred in 2015's Pan as Tiger Lily, a character that should have been Native American. The movie was a massive flop despite starring Hugh Jackman as the baddie. Audiences just weren't interested by the concept, and it showed. It was soon revealed to be one of Warner Bros.' biggest failures of the year, but there was more wrong with it than just the poor plot. Mara told journalists that she hated being involved in a whitewashing controversy and sincerely wished that the part had gone to a Native American rather than herself. She learned from her experience, saying, "I don't ever want to be on that side of it again." I can understand why people were upset and frustrated. Actresses Emma Stone and Scarlett Johansson have also come under fire for taking roles that should have been for other ethnicities in the past. Samuel L. Jackson, Glass. Glass is one of the most hotly anticipated movies of the year, as the third installment of the Unbreakable trilogy. The movie boasts some incredible stars like James McAvoy and Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Elijah Price. While Jackson doesn't regret starring in the movie, he has openly admitted it was one of the most challenging roles he has ever had to tackle. Unlike other characters in the film, Elijah Price is largely silent, meaning that Jackson is left with little to say but a lot to convey using his body language and facial expressions. It was so challenging to him that it tested his ability as an actor, and in some instances, he felt like he would be better off quitting. Thankfully for us, he didn't, and we can look forward to hitting the theaters to watch his performance. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.